ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea, the official specialty coffee of Disney Parks. Hot, cold, light, or dark, savory or sweet, there is a Joffrey's coffee for every moment and mood, celebration, and season. You can find Joffrey's specialty coffee and drinks in the parks, at Disney Springs, and online at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently holding for further traffic clearance. Once the monorail in front of us moves a safe distance away, we will resume our forward motion. Please remember to stay clear of all automatic doors. If you're standing, please continue to hold on to the silver handrails. Thank you.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. I'm joined by more than one person today, more than myself, because it is time for the DVC Roundtable. We're short a couple, but we're here at the men of the DVC Roundtable.
Guys night out.
There you go.
Like the DVC Triangle tonight.
Yeah.
Joining us tonight, Mr. Joe
More of a card
Quattrochi.
table than a round table.
There you go. Joe Quattrochi, how are you doing?
Hey, Tim, what's going on, man? How you doing? Happy annual pass raising ticket price season. It's February.
It's always a majestic time of year every year. Also, Mr. Brad Coates. Hey, Brad.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? And following suit, happy it's time to let go of all of your resolutions for this year because you've already tried it for a month, so you can call it.
Oh, yeah. We let go of those on January 3rd. Anyway, unfortunately,
Back to
Rebecca...
the month, move on.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Rebecca Toon and Emily Hicks can't join us tonight. They're out and about taking care of other things.
I guess life got in the way, right?
Yeah, that usually does with podcasts. Anyway. So we're going to just trudge right along. We got the DVC news for February 2020. Joe, you want to kick us off with our first story?
Sure, Tim. Sounds good. Like I said in the in the intro, it's February, and what that means is annual pass holder and Disney World ticket price and Disneyland ticket price increases. So our friends over at DVCnews.com, we're going to talk a little about annual pass increases. Most Walt Disney World and Disneyland admission media went up in price, but Disney Vacation Club members' discounts rose to match the increase in several key areas. The standard price for Walt Disney World's Platinum Annual Pass and Platinum Plus Annual Pass rose 6% to $1,195 and $1,295 respectively. However, Disney Vacation Club discounts apparently rose to match, leaving the discounted passes priced at $899 for Platinum and $999 for the Platinum Plus. So this is kind of where we talk about, if you have those benefits, the tickets is always one of the bigger benefits of having that blue card, so to get those DVC, direct buying benefits. The $300 discount on each pass now represents a discount of 30 to 33% off the standard rate for each of the two annual passes. The DVC Gold annual pass received a modest 2.8% increase from $699 to $719. And like the Platinum Pass, the Gold annual pass provides unlimited admission to the 4 Florida theme parks, but with the addition of roughly 4 weeks of blackout dates around Easter and Christmas. Members who are able to avoid the blackout weeks can receive approximately 48 weeks of park admission for 25% less than the cost of the Platinum Pass. Disneyland annual pass prices are up, but the deluxe pass is increasing from $799 to $829, and Signature from $1149 to $1199, and Signature Plus from $1399 to $1449. The only DVC discount offered for Disneyland tickets is the $20 price reduction on annual passes. Disneyland also raised the price of its Max Pass from $15 to $20. And all these prices that we just said here are subject to change at any time and do not include tax. So I know for me, Brad, I don't know what you have, but I have the DVC Gold annual pass. So when I saw that the prices were going up, I was like, oh my God, here we go again. But $699 to $719, that's $40 for me and my wife. Like,
I was just saying, if you need to borrow $20, I got it. I'll cover
thankfully, I could still handle that. But this is where we said, I just said this when I was reading the story. If you have those benefits and you have the direct contract, if you're saving around just say if you have one of the Platinum or Platinum Plus passes, just say you go for the big one, you're saving $300 on each pass. Family of 4 is $1,200. You're essentially getting one for free almost. So, I mean, those savings are significant. So this is something where we always say you got to run the numbers. It stinks that, passes are going up, and I don't think there was too big of an uproar this year on social media than there have been in the past. It wasn't too bad. But it stinks when they always go up, but somebody's got to pay for Epcot and, the Epcot renovations and for Galaxy's Edge. But like I said, it could have been a lot worse. especially for anybody who's a gold annual pass member like myself. So, Brad, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, think about it. Name one other a DVC discount that's 30% or above. I don't know of anything where you can get that good of a deal. Usually, you maybe get some 20, maybe 25, but it's really rare. So it's a great deal. And remind me, and I actually haven't gotten an annual pass now for a couple of years because I'm not able to go down as much. But the gold annual pass is strictly for DVC, correct?
Well, they also, I think it's also for Florida residents too, I believe.
Oh, right. Florida residents and DVC, but other people can't buy it. So there's another great deal. I mean, outside of living in Florida, the only other way to get this kind of a pass at that low at $6.99 is be a DVC member. So that's even a greater incentive for your blue card, to help you out. And the weeks that it cuts off, and they aren't kidding. It's just really the weeks you don't want to be there. So,
and you always,
I don't want it.
And you always have to look at it in a different way. And one of the things that I think I've mentioned this either on this show or on the Mickey Dudes is you got to picture it to related to something else in your life. So for a long time, I had season tickets to the New York Jets, and I had them for 21 years. And at the peak of when I got rid of my tickets when I moved, I was paying almost about $1,400 a ticket for the season. Now, granted, it's 10 games, plus you got to pay for parking and all that stuff. So, and I was buying for seats for myself. I had 2 seats, and then my parents had seats. So look at it this way. You're getting a full year, excluding, the few weeks around Christmas and Easter where you can't go, to the Walt Disney World Resort for half of what I was paying for Jet season tickets. I know there's a lot of people laughing out there. Oh, I wouldn't pay $10 for Jet tickets. But any NFL, and I had pretty decent seats in the mezzanine. So any NFL, stadium or team that you go to, you just have to find a way to make it, to compare it. It's really not that bad. Now, granted, I'm buying for myself and my wife. I'm not buying for 2 or 3 kids, so that makes it a whole different story. But, you just have to relate to something in your life where, you can go out to a family of 4 for a movie. It still might cost you $100 for the night. I mean, so you just got to find a way to justify it in your mind and see if it's worth it for you or not, and that's the way I kind of look at it. I mean, I don't know if Brad, you look at it a different way, or if Tim, with you buying tickets, if you look at it in the same way or not, but that's kind of the way I kind of justify it, at least to myself.
And when you go to actually book a trip to Disney, there are ways to keep the cost reasonable. There are some nice, good neighbor hotels. I prefer not to stay there, but even I enjoy staying at Pop, and I can get in there for pretty cheap, a lot cheaper than hotels anywhere else in the country that is in a tourist area. I mean, it's not bad. It's the tickets that are always killing me. So,
Right.
When you can, if you can get down there a lot, man, talk about cheap. It can become cheap entertainment in a hurry if you can make it down enough. So I agree. I wish I had more time and could make more trips. My problem was over the last few years of taking the kids, it was a split stay every time down, where half the time was at Disney and half was at that other place not to be mentioned. So I just didn't get enough days into the parks to really make it worthwhile for me. But as the grandkids come around, I'm sure I'll be back to get an annual pass again. So,
and the crazy thing, Brad, with me is that my wife and I, we're actually going to not do our large trip this year, like our big trip in the fall, like we usually do. We're still going to book Marathon Weekend in January, but we're going to do some different things. We're going to go to Aruba with my family this year. I've been there in like 10 years. And then also too is we're looking at booking a non-Disney cruise. I'm sorry, but Royal Caribbean's got some crazy deals out there with our friends Brittany and Justin. So we're looking at doing that as well. And they got some killer sales. We could kind of do both because the Aruba trip is going to kind of be low cost. We're using airline miles and stuff. But the point of my story is our annual passes are up in June. I'm like, do we even renew them until January?
Yeah, right. Really.
Like,
why would you?
I mean,
I wouldn't.
I mean, we pop in, like I'll be there this Saturday. My cousin and his wife are, she's down there for Princess Weekend. So we want to go see, their kids and see them and stuff like that. We'll pop in for the day at the Magic Kingdom. But I'm like, man, I don't know if we're really going to renew it because to see how much we're going to really be popping in. We're so busy now at home, and just with traveling and work, it's like, we really have to think twice about it. So we may take a little bit of a break. I don't know. We probably will still renew. Who are we kidding? But it makes you think twice about, like, do we want to renew them or not? So it's going to be interesting.
You're going to put in enough days to make it worthwhile.
That's the thing. You got to make it worthwhile. Just like you said, it wasn't worth it for you because you weren't making as many trips with your kids. It's the same thing with us. So we'll play it by ear and see what happens. But I mean, we'll probably end up doing it. Once you have an AP, it's hard to give it up. But we'll see what happens.
Cool.
As a DVC members, how many passes can you buy? Like for all your kids, is there a limit of 4? How's that work?
Brad, is it how many are attached to the room? I think, or how many on the contract?
I don't know. I would be totally guessing. It seemed like it was 6, but I don't know why I'm thinking that was a max. But I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was something to do possibly with either who's under contract or who's on the contract plus a certain amount. Like, your kids might not be on the deed, but like obviously they're going to get the annual pass price. So there probably is some sort of. But there's no way Brad and I could buy tickets for Looper Nation.
Right.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Brad, like when I renew my AP, when I got my first one, I went up to the ticket booth and I had to show my DVC card and all that stuff. So that's how we got it. So I would assume you would need to have the card or show them that you're your kids or whatever. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it has to do with what's on your deed.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about I'm almost sure that's exactly right. You actually have to list them. It's limit 8 purchases per household per 12-month period.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go. Good to know.
So there you go.
Find your closest 8 friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Brad, do you have our next story?
Yeah, so once again, Riviera is in the news. Of course, it's going to stay in the news for a while because it's the new kid on the block. I found it funny when I was reading the news article. It said, in the weeks following its grand opening, Disney's Riviera Resort posted its best ever sales numbers in January 2020.
Yes.
It's been for sale for 2 months. So it beat last month. But it did. I mean, they had great numbers. And compared to years past and other resorts, it's doing really good. So for those of us who really were concerned that it would really come out flat, it's not. And I can tell you, in talking to a lot of different owners and people when I was out there in January, and folks on some other podcasts and stuff, there's a large number of people out there that are completely aware of the resale restriction, and it just doesn't bother them. They looked at it and said, based on how we're going to use this, we're not worried about it because we weren't looking to sell it anyway. So we're going to give it to our kids, and we're going to use it until then, and so it won't lose its value for us. So it's doing good. Sales are up over 200,000 points in sales in January, which is only the third time in the last 12 months that sales exceeded 200,000. So they're doing really good. The one thing that I did find interesting in the article, it said that Disney has declared, because the total number of resort rooms or vacation homes, quote unquote, that have been declared. Remember, with DVC, they declare a few at a time, then they sell them, and then eventually they'll release a few more. That basically means only a portion of that resort is available to DVC. So only 99 rooms out of the 341 vacation homes have been added to the inventory, which means that only 29% of the resort can actually be booked right now by DVC members. So for those of us out there who are going, why is it so hard to get into this resort as big as it is? Bingo. There's just not much to rent right now. Mm-hmm. If you don't own there and didn't already get your contract, there's only 29% available. So you can rent there, and that's the other thing. You always see cash rooms available, but unfortunately for DVC, till they release more of that inventory, it's going to be a really difficult, a hot commodity to get a room inside a Riviera. And kind of tying into that Riviera, I don't know. What do you think about that, Joe? Do you think does that make sense?
Well, first of all, with the sales doing so good, I guess we're always allowed to change our opinions. And thinking back on what you just said about some certain families saying, we know what we're getting into, we know the resale restrictions, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to turn it over to our kids. I own Saratoga Springs. You own Saratoga Springs. It's not the most exciting resort, but I love it. It's like my little home away from home. And I don't see myself ever selling it. I don't ever see. So and it's Saratoga Springs. Like, they make, we have a little bit of fun on the Mickey Dudes, right? They call me Saratoga Joe because I love Saratoga Springs. There's not many people who like Saratoga Springs, right?
I like that.
And you know what? If you're one of these families that's new to DVC, or if you're adding on a contract, you're like, you know what? We love Riviera. We love the Skyliner. We love the theming. We love the location. And you know what? It's priced not bad for being direct from Disney. Was it 170 something, whatever it was? Like, I could see people saying, I'm going to hold on to it. I don't really care. So taking a step back and seeing the resort firsthand, like in person now completed, I'm like, wow, this is really nice. My opinions changed a little bit. I still am skeptical because you still want that out clause if you ever needed to get rid of it. It'd be easier to sell if you could sell it to somebody who could use it anywhere. But it doesn't surprise me. You might get that initial rush where it's new and people are like, I love it here. I want this, and they go for it. So it doesn't surprise me at all, and I think my view has changed on that a little bit. As for the releasing so many rooms, I guess, is that a way? And I'm kind of learning something here myself. Is that a way for them for the DVC side of the house to keep cash flow coming in? I know the state of Florida requires so many rooms to be cash rooms, but with them only releasing so many rooms for DVC points, right, to be booked, but they're still renting out cash rooms. Is that a way for the DVC side of Riviera to keep cash coming in, to keep the resort afloat because they don't have the dues, the annual dues? Am I right with that, Brad? Is that why they?
That's totally what I would think.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because
to sell all, even though they're only selling 90% of it, to try to sell that all at once. That's a lot of points dumped on the market. I mean, 29% of the market, but that is 1.952 million points that have been sold.
But isn't it, if somebody books a cash room, right, they're getting that. It's like they're getting, like, if you took your DVC points and booked at a regular Walt Disney World hotel, say you took your Saratoga points and you booked at the Contemporary, not Bay Lake Tower Contemporary, DVC or Disney Vacation was paying Walt Disney World proper, Walt Disney World Resorts for that room. So it's kind of like the same way they're taking cash in to keep themselves afloat. It's just kind of reverse. That's just the way I'm looking at it.
No, and I agree. Yeah, that's definitely, I agree. I think that's part of it, the cash and the fact that they don't get so much inventory. They're using inventory that they couldn't get rid of quick enough.
Sure.
So they do it a little at a time, and then they make money off the rest of it, which is a win-win for them. They're not sitting on dead inventory because it's not selling, and then they're also getting cash for the inventory that hasn't been declared yet. So to me, yeah, I'm not. They didn't call me for advice, but that would seem to make the most sense. And that way, it also keeps the conversation going for months and months and months and months.
True.
So it makes sense. But you mentioned about the price, about it costing, how cheap it was. That actually came up just recently too. That was another thing in the news. A lot of the folks with Riviera, they're looking to buy Riviera, started kind of getting up in arms because the word came out. They were getting ready to bump it was time they were going to bump the price up. And that's always when people get all bent out of shape. Why are they raising it already? But it ended up, they raised the price, but they really didn't raise the price. So this is what I mean by that. To buy a 200-point contract with Disney Riviera, first part of January, few weeks of January, with the incentive that was there, you could get it as low as $178 per point. All right. Well, where the base price was at $188. Well, they raised the base price now to $195. But actually, for the next few weeks, you can get it for even cheaper than they were getting it when it was at $188, because the discount they got was $178, but now they've added a second discount onto it, and you can get it as low as $175 for the next few weeks. Let me see. Let me look it up here. It's through February 26th, and after February 26th, one of the additional credits will drop off, and now the net price will be $181.25 per point. So it'll go up slightly. But, that's only, not $3 more a point. So it wasn't too bad. So
seems like a good reason to get people to make the leap if they're on the fence thinking maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah. It's kind of clever. They did offer something, too, where they weren't doing it before. In the past, it's always been something where they basically just applied the credits, what they call developer's credit, towards the cost of the actual purchase. Somewhere in there in the paperwork, it's saying now they can take up to $1,000 of the developer's credit and actually receive that in the form of a Disney gift card. So they could still keep the $1,000 in the loan and basically get $1,000 in cash towards their trip. Is basically what it looks like to me. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of interesting.
So the only thing that, like, the first thing that popped in my head is this is maybe and I don't know if I'm even right with the months on this, but could this be one of those things where they're like but like raising the price to like, and then bringing it back to like maybe jumpstart prices because I'm correct. Disney uses the fiscal quarters from October 1, if I'm not mistaken, right? So are they trying to maybe get a last minute push for sales for their quarterly earnings report because their DVC sales are linked to the theme parks? Mm-hmm. I'm just speculating it. That's like the Len Testa in me because he always talks about quarterly earnings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason why I think it's almost like, okay, like the sales are kind of there, they're pretty good, but like if we raise them up and then bring it back down, it looks like it's on sale and people will rush to get it. Mm-hmm. And then once they close on those contracts, then because I think if it's October, November, December, be March would be the end of the fiscal quarter. And they would do that for their quarterly earning report. I don't know. I don't know if that's correct. I could be completely ignorant on that because I'm not a financial guy. But that's the one thing I'm like, well, it's like they're rushing. Like, because why would you raise it and then discount it again? Unless you're trying to get people like to jumpstart them for some reason. So maybe it has to do with their quarterly earnings report. Try saying that how many times in a row. But that's just what popped in my head. I don't know. If anybody's a financial person out there, if I'm right, let me know. If not, I'm sorry. But
yeah. The one thing I did think about with that is I thought was kind of interesting, and this was kind of that makes sense. Also, another take on it might be why did they do two discounts? And actually, that kind of makes sense because what they're doing is they're raising the price, but you're not feeling it yet. It's like they're great. They're doing it in two steps.
Yeah. It's like. So they're kind of like, yeah, I completely understand. It's like when you go to a department store. Everything at a department store is always on sale, but the prices are always inflated.
Cool.
Exactly. That was $40 last week. Now it's $50, but it's 20% off.
It's 20%, exactly. So, but you're probably right, Brad, because like once that thing expires, it'll go back up. Like, whoa, it was at $175. It was just on sale, and then they could run another special. Maybe it'll be like $180 or $190, or they'll give you some other incentives. So it gives them that leeway to still keep the price maybe in the under 200, but not really.
Then they can gradually raise the price without coming out and saying, we raised the price twice in 2 months. No, we raised the price once, and then we gave you two discounts, and we took one discount away, and then we took both away.
And I'm sure every DVC member will be getting an email or some kind of thing saying, hey, because they're always running specials. You always I still look at them, even though like I'm not really in the market. You still look at them. You're like, oh, I'm just curious, And if it sparks the interest of a few people, then it's worked. So
this wasn't on our agenda, but can I get on my soapbox real fast, Tim?
Hop on up.
Okay. So Joe, have you been getting on the DVC website much lately?
I was the actual like the booking portal.
Well, just logging into your account.
I have not logged. I was speaking to Tim about that earlier before you had joined the call, but I need to go there and book my marathon again. So I'll probably do that after the show, but not recently, no.
We're always hoping that Disney is out there listening to us, right? Well, I hope you're listening, Disney. Please stop with that. Right now, every time I load up the DVC site, it immediately goes to a page saying, you want us to send you a DVD? You want to look at the video now? You want to purchase? You want to buy another cap? You should buy a contract. It's like I'm logging on to a site where I already own contracts. Why are you're treating me like a new customer? And it's like you can't get around it. It's like constantly. I finally just said it, send me a DVD, hoping it would stop. Well, I got the DVD in the mail. But every time I log on, it wants to give me another DVD. It's like, leave me alone. DVC, we are already customers. Stop trying to sell us constantly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I literally just pulled it up. I had to do it while you're doing it. It says request order a free DVD or view the video online to know what Disney Vacation.
And get used to seeing that because it'll come up. It's been coming up the entire month of January and February.
Well, but I say, Brad, to their credit, though, it is on like the page before you sign in. Yeah. So if you're interested in TVC, it's right there to, But
come on, past it, you click on where you want to go, but it's just like, really? Okay, you tried a few times. Now just take it off. It's okay.
Well, you know what's funny is like, and you guys remember this. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there would remember this too. I remember years ago when I used to constantly order the VHS videos. I could not wait for them to come in the mail.
It was like Christmas.
I still have like 3 or 4 different versions of them I can put away like in a closet. Like those were absolutely amazing. Like that was the best day. And I was like, I just ordered one last year. I hope they'll send me another one, and I used to love getting those videos. This is before obviously YouTube and the internet, but I used to love getting those videos. I used to watch them over and over again. hence, it's a Thursday night. We're recording a podcast, so fast forward.
There you go.
Later. Tim, I'll roll into story 4 here.
Absolutely. Let's keep it moving.
So we, as everybody knows, and Rebecca, if you're listening to this, you know how much I love Disney's Contemporary Resort and Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah.
And back in December, the walking path from the Contemporary Hotel and Bay Lake Tower to the Magic Kingdom was blocked off for refurbishment. Foot traffic has been maintained via a temporary walkway, which occasionally includes the roadway. Temporary barriers are now in place to ensure the safety of the guests walking to the theme park. And according to WDW News Today, the new path will include a more permanent security screening point for guests arriving at the park, and images also display a circular concrete structure, most likely for a plant bed or a fountain. So that's important for DVC owners and guests who stay at Bay Lake Tower, because that is one of the most biggest perks to be able to walk to the Magic Kingdom. I know they did a lot of construction out front because I think they moved some of the Walt Disney World Railroad tracks, I believe, because of all the construction with Tron. So I think that some of that was because of that. But I think they're getting pretty close to, I think that all that construction up front, because I was watching some of the Disney vloggers on YouTube, and that's what it looked like is that they were moving some of the tracks, I guess, from that front part of the park. So that's why I think those concrete, I guess walls are for, but it's good that they'll have a permanent, screening point over, because that is a fantastic way to enter the Magic Kingdom. Is if you're staying over there, it is awesome. They don't have to deal with the main security checkpoint.
Everybody says it's a monorail hotel. Well, it is, but honestly, walking is way easier than doing the monorail over the Magic Kingdom.
It's nice. Honestly, the best monorail hotel is probably the Polynesian.
I concur.
It's located. I
agree. Yeah.
But it's because Grand Floridian, man, like it's. Actually, when that bridge opens up, which I guess still hasn't officially been announced yet, which I find kind of funny, that will be a huge perk, because I know staying at the Grand Floridian, getting on the monorail to the Magic Kingdom, it's always full.
It is always full. I would be so upset
annoying.
if I'm paying to stay at the Grand Floridian and I have to wait for 3 monorails to get on.
Yeah, and then it takes you 4 stops to get back. I mean, because you got to go all the way around. So
and it isn't because there's a ton of people necessarily waiting to get on. It's the trains are already full.
Right.
It's trains, and it's most people from the TTC, which, listen, I am a quasi-local, and I'm guilty of doing it too, where the TTC is backed up. I'm just like, I'll hop on a resort monorail. So I'm guilty of it as well. But yeah, this is good news for Contemporary Resort and Bay Lake Tower guests.
Yeah.
That it's open. So
how long is the walk going to be though, from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom? That's longer than the Contemporary walk.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention. Is it's definitely going to be probably at least 2 times as long.
I predict
longer, but
golf cart Ubers.
That'll be a nice walk, though. I'm telling you, like, there's nothing. I mean, I know. Listen, most people are tired by the end of the night, but like, there's still nothing better than just going your own pace instead of being crammed into like a boat or a monorail car. Sometimes it's just nice just to do your own thing, or even if you have like a huge dinner, it's nice to walk it off at the end of the night. So
I wouldn't be surprised to see Grand Floridian golf cart shuttling some people.
That wouldn't be a bad. That's not a bad idea.
I'm not.
Another revenue stream.
The minivan golf carts.
Hey, listen, Tim, you'd be surprised. I mean, Tim, I know you're a NASCAR guy a little bit. Yeah. The Daytona 500 was this week, and they have that at the NASCAR tracks now. They have this service called Joyride, and it's trips for tips, and you don't have to be handicapped or ADA compliant to use these. You just hail them down. They'll take you wherever you want to go within the racetrack itself, the property, and you tip them. There's no set fee; just tip them whatever you feel necessary. You got to give them something,
right? But
that's not uncommon. I mean, I could possibly see that if you're a registered Grand Floridian guest. I mean,
sure,
that wouldn't be a bad idea.
You heard it here first.
Think about. I'm sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying you heard it here first. It was like, I don't know if you saw my post about my joke from the Hollywood Tower of Terror. What was it? The Hollywood Nakatomi Tower of Terror. And then there was a rumor that someone was throwing out there about that. Yeah. I think it was Inside the Magic threw that out there this week. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. That was a joke.
Well, the thing is, Disney's already given the model of it. You just go over to the cabins. I mean, and we paid serious money to rent a golf cart over there, staying in a cabin so that we could get to the boat and get back and go to dining. So totally, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. If they've got room to park them at Magic Kingdom, if they can create that would be a great revenue stream.
I would even just be like a shuttle service, like
that's kind of
they could do that too. Yeah.
I mean, it's just another, it's another thing that they could do. They could do it even just, you could even do it just as a perk for Grand Floridian guests, where you have to show like your Magic Band, whatever, and say, listen, just for as a perk of that resort. You could do it that way because, it could get out of hand. You know what I'm saying? You hold like 6 people plus with strollers. It's probably not a viable thing, but it's an idea floated out there. They've done crazier things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So. Yeah.
Absolutely true. All right, guys.
So I heard we got an email, Tim.
We do have an email. This is from Tom G. I'll read it here. He says, good day. Hello, my name is Tom from New Jersey. Hello, Tom from New Jersey. He's new to the DVC. He's at Copper Creek Villas last year. As my family and I are just getting off our first visit as members, he said we stayed at the Polynesian with a lagoon view, with an awesome view of the castle. I like the way he travels. So I first went online today. This was February 5th. He tried to book their next trip for January 5th through the 11th at their home resort of Copper Creek Villas for a studio. He was ready at the 11-month window and exactly 8 a.m. So at 8:00:01 a.m. he hit the reserve button and he got, please choose another date available within your window. So he refreshed the page. I got back in, and the 5th, he said, is waitlist only. And at this point, it's not even 8:01 yet, and the day is unavailable. He said it was very frustrating. So he tried the next day with exactly the same results. His question to the roundtable is this. As he learned online, the reason most likely for this is because of something known as walking your reservation. He wants to know if we can explain what it is and how it works. And what are the tables, what are your guys' thoughts on this being one of the reasons the days went unavailable at exactly 8 a.m.? They said, plus, could the fact that DVC sold guaranteed weeks at this resort be a factor to this happening? Is it possible the reservation system auto-updates those rooms at exactly 8 a.m. and zeroes out the availability? He also called at 9 a.m. when they opened, and they said, you are just not fast enough. And then he threw in at the end, he just learned that it was also a marathon weekend. So that's Tom G. What do you have? Can somebody explain what walking is for anybody who doesn't know what walking a DVC reservation is?
I can kind of walk you through that part, but before we talk about the walking, let's just talk to Tom about the reality of DVC ownership, unfortunately. And I think, Joe, you can relate to this. Although you own at Saratoga, and where else do you own?
Just straight up Saratoga.
Okay, yeah. So you haven't run into it as much because you're not trying to book. There at the 11-month window, you're good because there's just so many cabins. Tom, you're not alone in this. It's maybe the single most frustrating thing for DVC owners that people I've talked to over the years. When we own, and I feel your pain. I own a second contract at Animal Kingdom. Now, Animal Kingdom is a very large resort, so I can get lots of inventory available even at the 7-month window. I'm usually okay. But if you want what's called a value room, which are the really inexpensive, they're like 11 points for a night to stay in a studio in Jambo. It's so low, it's ridiculous. But there's only a handful of them. And then if you want club level, which is even less, I believe, or right about the same number. I did the same thing last year. I got on the instant I could get on to get club level. No luck. First day was booked out, but all the other days were open. So next morning, got up, first thing, jumped on. Second day, nothing available, but all the other days were available. Third day, and it did the same thing you're describing up until I got to my last day, and I managed to get one day in a club level room in January. So unfortunately, and I had to do a 1-bedroom to do it because there was no studios available. It's not uncommon. It happens. It really isn't directly related to the walking, and I'll walk you through that here in a minute, how that works. I don't believe, because it's such an involved process that most people would not do what's necessary to book, use the walking a reservation. Usually when people are willing to do what it takes, it's because they're trying to book maybe for marathon, but I've always seen inventory at pretty late at marathon. Have you?
Yeah, I mean, usually I'm booking Saratoga and then like trying to like move somewhere else. But I mean, Copper Creek is not huge, but it's not the smallest. I think I've looked it up, and according to one of the DVC resale stores out there, websites, it said there's 220 units, which means that that's a mixture of, I believe, probably 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever. So there's not a ton of inventory there, but it's not small. But
that's pretty small.
It is small. I mean, but yeah. I mean, I guess he's coming. He's like literally there at 8 o'clock on the dot, which
it stinks. But unfortunately, and there's certain resorts where they're wanting to get into, and he did notice that it was marathon weekend, which does impact it. So I mean, I think that does happen. But here's the thing. So let me walk you through but the other thing, could the fact that DVC sold guaranteed weeks, based on the empirical data that's come out on all of those resorts that were doing it. In fact, there was some in the Riviera thing today. They said in January, 2 more fixed week deeds were sold for Riviera, bringing the entire number up to 27. These resorts that are doing the fixed week, they're just not selling very many. So I don't know that I mean, when they are buying fixed week, they're going to be buying marathon weekend. That's going to be one probably people buy, don't you think, Joe? I mean, that's one they want to lock in.
I mean, marathon weekend for the most part is the same weekend every January. It has moved around a little bit here and there, but that would be – there's some diehard – and that's my favorite Run Disney weekend. Everybody knows I like to do Run Disney events, as Brad does as well. But that's the one I would always go to. And just by the way, Brad, I got the official numbers here. Copper Creek, according to has 185 units compared to Saratoga, which has 888.
Oh my goodness! Wow,
it's a small resort compared to, like I said, or Old Key West, which is 761. Yeah. So
Animal Kingdom is up there too. I mean, it may be even higher if you include Jambo and Kidani. I mean, it's quite a few. So, okay, so let's talk about walking a reservation. Okay, so the way you walk a reservation is. We're not telling you guys to do this.
It's very frowned upon.
Yes, it is frowned upon. Unfortunately, it is a loophole that Disney has not closed. And here's the thing. Until Disney closes it, we can't be mad at people that take advantage of it. Personally, I wouldn't do it. But main reason I wouldn't do it is because it's a royal pain in the neck. But here's what you have to do. You have to find a time where you can book the maximum number of days possible. So sometime in the year where it's slow enough where you can go to the resort that you're wanting to go to with the room type you're wanting to go. So let's say you may have to start in October, first week in November, or even earlier, September, when it's real slow, and you'll book a week at the resort you want to go to at Christmas, or let's say Thanksgiving. Then what you do is once you've booked the 7 days, each day you have to get up, contact them and say, I want to drop the first day of my reservation, because that's always the one that's waitlisting, right? The first one's always booked, but the others are open because they're not available yet unless somebody's booking past it. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So you drop the first day, and then they say, and just add that 8th day on. Well, nobody's been able to get to it yet because it's so far out there that, if you can only book 7 days. So a lot more inventory is available for that 7th day than is available for that first day. So you add a day, you drop a day at the front, then you use your points to add a day at the end. And then you just keep walking your reservation until you get to the week you want.
Wow.
That's walking a reservation. And that's why I say you're gonna be getting up every morning. You may take a chance and say, well, I'm going to skip the 2 days and I'm going to try to do 2 at a time. Well, you could do that, but then after you did all that, you may all of a sudden get 1 day in there that you can't get. So basically, you got to get up each day, say, drop the first day, add a day at the end, and then it's moved 1 day into the future, and then the next day, 1 more day, and 1 more day. So if I'm out, let's say I'm out 45 days, I'm going to have to call in 45 times to move that reservation until I get what I want.
And hopefully you'll get a different cast member every time. I mean, whoever did this, whoever thought about doing this was brilliant. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, it's, I don't know.
And I'd be the guy that'd probably try it one time and then I'd never do it again, because I love dreaming about Disney. And part of it for me too is, hey, listen, I live in New Mexico, so guess what? 5 a.m. is when I get up to try to book my fast passes and my DVC.
Right.
And now Tim's up at 5. He's having lunch at 5 a.m.
I'm halfway done with the day.
But that's not me. And I'm going to do that every day for the next 45 days. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll step Pop Century. I'm good.
You think a lot of people are doing that?
What's that?
You think a lot of people are doing that?
I really don't. And that's why I say that. There's no way to tell, because there's nobody really tracking it. There's a lot of people that talk about it. Everybody asks about it. Everybody goes, oh, I'm going to do that. And how many really do that? And that's the thing. I don't know for sure. I'm just going off of what makes sense to me. And I just can't imagine many people are getting up every day, walking a reservation to get it where they want it. Because you may have to go, you have to start looking. And the people I've talked to that do this, they said, oh yeah, I start looking, 3 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
Because you've got to find a time when you can get all the days or get 7 days in a row. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be the same. Like, well, let's say you're only going to do a four-day stay. You don't have to over the weekend. Well, you don't have to do the weekends. You could do weekdays, because remember, you're just moving it one day at a time. And then eventually you just drop off what you don't want until it's the size you want it to be. So, but still, you gotta. He said, "Yeah, I start looking 3 months in advance." I'm like, "Okay, that's a lot of getting up every day and contacting DVC to move that reservation."
That's a commitment there.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's being done. Whether that's the reason he can't get in on that one day, are there? There's 185 units. Are there 90 units that are doing that? I don't think so. Yeah.
And just let Tom from Jersey know, what's up, Tom? That it's frustrating. He's a new DVC member. He wants to book in his home resort. He's like,
sure.
He's like, dude, what the? He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. He's literally like on the phone or online at the time, like when the buzzer goes off, and he still can't get it. So listen, brother, we feel your pain.
We do.
Just waitlist it and just have a good backup plan. I mean, you could do up to 2 wait lists. So obviously waitlist your home resort, and then just keep an eye on when you're able to go somewhere else. Just book a backup just in case, so you have something else to fall back on. But just waitlist it and fingers crossed. Sometimes I'll tell you, and I know he's not going to want to hear this, but when the waitlist comes through, it's almost exciting as when you're booking.
It is, exactly.
But it's his home resort, and he's a new owner, and he did it what he's supposed to be doing. Yeah. So that's where I can understand why he be.
Believe me,
so, I mean,
every time I get up to try to get club level, that's the reason I bought the Animal Kingdom, was so that I could try to get club level, and I almost never can. I mean, it's frustrating. But it is what it is. It just, unfortunately,
just stay on top of it, man. Just keep looking every day, or when you're in the car or whatever, fire up your phone, whatever, or waitlisting. Just keep looking. I know it stinks, and you're like, I shouldn't have to do that, but unfortunately, with the popularity of DVC, it's kind of the way it is right now. That's why I'm kind of grateful I don't own at such a popular resort or a small resort, because I have that luxury of just like, nobody wants to stay at Saratoga. It's an afterthought. I love it. So
and actually, since
I'm a stress-free vacation, but
and with you mentioning that, just especially to encourage him in the future, that first day that he was going to be there, that's the early part of Marathon Weekend. The chance of if you wait list one day, your chances are real good that you have a much better chance that it's going to come through, right?
Yeah.
If you're waitlisting, 4 or 5 days, you're in trouble. Good luck. It's probably not going to happen. But if you're doing one, like at the front part of the stay, if it's a day that isn't like December 27th or something, then you've got a good shot. So I like what you're saying. Book the other days if you can. But the problem for him was he couldn't, because every day he tried. He tried to get on, so it wouldn't work anyway. So, but man, brother Tom, I feel your pain. Email me the next time. Just vent. I'll listen. I feel it every time I try to do Animal Kingdom Club level. It's like, I'm going to try, but.
And you know what? It's still, call DVC member services. Just stay on top of them. Like just be like, I'm still waitlisted. Just want to see anything opened up. You might get lucky if you're nice, and you never know. Sometimes the numbers are what the numbers are, and there is no availability. But also too is something else. I don't know if you're looking for a specific room. Like for example, I always use. We can use Saratoga as an example, or even Boardwalk. Boardwalk, they have your standard rooms and your preferred view rooms. A lot of times the standard view are harder to get because they're less than points. So maybe put yourself on a wait list for a room that has even though it's more points, if you can afford the points, if you have them in your bank, maybe waitlist that as well. Waitlist them both. And see which one comes through. Sometimes, I know I've had Boardwalk come through on preferred view, which I don't want usually because it's more points, but it happened to me once. I was lucky that I got it, and then I actually waitlisted a standard view room and went back to the standard room. But, so, I mean, you always look at maybe there's other options as well through, Copper Creek, if there's different, I don't know the specific on the chart, if there's different views or whatever that are more or less points, but do them both because sometimes the cheaper rooms are going to be harder to get.
Do you remember, Joe, isn't there a limit on how many wait lists you can do at a time?
Yeah, you can do 2.
You can do 2, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, Tom, we wish you good luck next time.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
Stay away from Marathon Weekend. Stay away from Christmas, New Year's.
No, Marathon Weekend's fun, Brad. You would understand. It's fantastic.
If you're trying to book the 11th month at your resort and that's hard, then do it there, but do 7 months or more. Because I love, Marathon Weekend. And honestly, this last time, I just ran the 10K, and we really only spent one day in the park. But the days in the parks are usually actually pretty nice. As long as the transportation's doing okay to get there, the numbers in the parks are usually kind of down.
Yeah, because usually everybody's going to bed at a certain hour.
Exactly. So. They're all running themselves to death. So Marathon Weekend is not a bad time to be in the park.
That's good to know.
Fun to run because I like my cool medals.
Don't they just weigh you down, though?
Well, I don't know if you saw, Joe. Did you see the medal for the Castaway Key Challenge?
I have not. No.
It was kind of cool. So it's got the wheel of a sailing ship. The big wheel, and it spins on my medal. It's just something to occupy my brain. Squirrel.
Yeah, I've almost avoided Disney Cruise Line stuff because I was very close to possibly booking a DCL trip, and we ended up going Royal Caribbean because it's the price we couldn't beat, and it just looks really cool. So I'm like, I think we're working our way up to that eventually. So
it was fun.
But
nice.
Thanks for writing in.
Thank you very much.
Love to answer questions.
Before we wrap it up, we do have one more email here that we need to just mention. This was from Karen. She said, "Hello, this is just a quick note to say that she adores the boring number stuff that Emily shares on the show."
Karen, so she did not like my numbers approach today.
Well,
Emily rattles them off so well.
She does.
She's so good at it. And she's been doing it for so long.
And she makes sense when she does.
She does. She breaks it down where even I can understand
she's good with that stuff. Thank God we have you guys on it because I can never rattle off numbers like that. But they're important for DVC, right, Tim? I mean, they're important. I mean, a lot of DVC is about numbers and
oh my gosh,
resorts and how much you're paying and maintenance fees. I mean,
exactly.
It's
points,
what it is, so.
Maintenance fees. That's the point numbers themselves. So they all just kind of blend together. You're either a numbers person or you're not. And it's not me. I'm more of a colors and shapes.
Picture books and,
Exactly.
Or sock puppets. Yeah.
Anyway, we better wrap it up here, guys.
All right.
Excellent. Joe, where can people find you? What are you up to?
Sure. Well, I'm still on Twitter at Joe Quad, Instagram. Most of my posts are on Instagram, so hit me over at Joe Quad. If you hit me up, just give me a little patience. I'm a little slow sometimes with approving people, but you can find me over there. And also over at the Mickey Dudes podcast. Having fun with those guys over there. So check us out over there as well.
Nice. I love fun. Hey, Brad, where can people find you?
So Papa Mouse on Twitter. I actually have been kind of paying more attention lately on there. Facebook, you can find me, Brad Coates, on Facebook. I am doing a little bit more with Chad Pennicuff over at My DVC Points podcast. So you might listen in over there. He does a good podcast if you need more DVC fix.
He does a great show.
And yeah, he's a good guy. And then hopefully more and more you'll see me in the parks
Ooh.
Because I kind of missed out on doing the parks over the last couple of years, so I'm hoping to get out there a little bit more.
Go get your annual pass, Brad.
I'm going to. That's why I may have to do that, so it forces me to go more often. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Everybody, hopefully Rebecca Toon and Emily Hicks will join us next month. We see if we can schedule everything when everybody can make it.
Everybody, we missed you, girls.
We did.
Yeah, life gets in the way. It's hard.
It does. We love them so much. Anyway, Tim Scott, Facebook, Twitter, the website, ResortLoop.com. Everybody, go out there and share, especially this show. Who doesn't love a DVC Roundtable? Share the gateway to the magic.
That's right.
Say it, guys.
See you, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Nice. Oh, my goodness.
Joe's still the best.
He's the best.
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoop.com.